on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Motherfucker, he's on his...
Mountain Murders is an Appalachian true crime podcast. Listener discretion is advised. The show contains graphic language and depictions of violence. It may not be suitable for all audiences.
We say fuck a lot. Hey guys, welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
This is episode 87.
Oh my God, we're closing in on 100.
Before we got started, Dylan was working on his rap career.
Yeah, I was. You want me to give him a sample?
Yeah.
Guess who's back? Back again. Dylan's back. Tell a friend. I went and smoked a cigarette.
Listen to the podcast. Listen to the podcast. Listen to the podcast. Is that like your chorus?
Yeah, that is my chorus. Thank you. And the other great song I thought about.
What was your other?
Yeah, You Look Like Sangria. But you told me it was Your Lips Taste Like Sangria.
I mean, if you're going to butcher New Country, it's bad enough without you butchering it. At least get the lyrics right. Well, this is what he did. He starts singing the song, and he's like, that song's so fucking stupid.
You look like sangria. I was like, that song don't even make no damn sense.
And I was like, well, it doesn't make any sense because those are not the lyrics, Dylan.
Oh.
It's your lips taste like sangria.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, so here you are making fun of a song.
I'm saying a song
You're like,
sucks
this
that I
song
made up.
is stupid, and it's a song that you made up yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. My brain does that. A lot of times it will be different lyrics. Heather has come across it many times, even in classic songs. And she's like, what the fuck are you saying? I'm like, that's how it goes. But it's not, it turns out.
Yeah, it'll be like, Papa Don't Preach, and Dylan's like, a squirrel in a tree. And I'm like, what? What?
There's a bathroom on the right.
It's true. He just makes
Hey,
up
I'm sorry, that song sounds like that.
He totally just makes up his own lyrics.
Okay.
And then bashes the original song for like, this song is terrible. And it's because you made up your own version of it. And so really, your song is terrible.
That's what I hear when it plays.
I can't even with him this weekend, you guys.
I'm going to have to quit messing with her right now, so I'm going to have to tone it down a bit.
Just been pushing my buttons today. You guys have no idea. Well, if you're a patron, you listen to our brand new Patreon episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you probably heard.
You know.
A little bit of Dylan.
Speaking of brand new patrons.
We have a brand new patron, Stephanie. Thanks for stepping out at our highest level. We appreciate your support. Because of you, we are able to keep the podcast going. So, Stephanie, this episode dedicated to you.
Thanks so much, Stephanie.
She brought you guys this great story. Dylan, are you ready to get started?
I'm ready to jump in with 2 feet.
Episode 87, Mountain Murders. We're going to go all the way back to 1978.
This is a very interesting story, and honestly, there's some books and stuff like that about it, but there's not a whole lot out there about it. And I can't believe people aren't talking about it more.
I don't believe there's another like true crime podcast that's covered this case.
I could not find one.
1978.
Hey, that's a year of Dylan.
The year of our great Dylan.
Yes.
July 11th, 1978. It was a Tuesday. The president was Jimmy Carter. The Sex Pistols had broken up 6 months earlier. Saturday Night Fever by the Bee Gees was a #1 song on the radio. And as a matter of fact, the Bee Gees and Andy Gibb had some back-to-back hits this year.
And on March 30th, Dylan came popping out of his mom's vagina. Yeah, that was another big event that year.
Ew.
Sorry.
It sounds sticky.
Well, it just happens natural.
Grease was a wildly popular movie that year, and if you wanted to check it out in a theater, it was going to cost you about $2.34.
Well, it's a lot cheaper than it is nowadays. It's like $50 for 2 or 3 people to go.
Disco was in full force, and in the small town of Newcastle, Pennsylvania, 35-year-old Rose Butera, along with her daughter Lori, and Lori's boyfriend Brian, left a gynecologist's office.
Well, that sounds like a fun event.
Since you want to talk about vaginas.
Well, I mean, it happens. Vaginas happen.
Rose had recently undergone a hysterectomy procedure, so she was just having like a follow-up appointment at the doctor's office on this day. On the drive back from the appointment, Lori asked her mother if they could pop in on a friend, Kathy Cadunce.
Yeah, and so they're just going to pop by and see what's going on with them.
Kathy was a 25-year-old stay-at-home mom. She would likely be at home on this day with her 2 kids, 4-year-old Dawn and an infant son named Robert. But his nickname is Dino, so we'll call him Dino for the rest of the story. And he was born only in May of that year, so he's still a tiny baby, an infant.
Yeah, so she's tied to the house with them chitlins.
Newcastle, Pennsylvania lies 50 miles north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 18 miles east of Youngstown, Ohio. In the 1970s, Newcastle was a blue-collar area, but diverse. It had a very diverse community with Greeks, Syrians, Italians, Polish, Amish, and a lot of other ethnicities. Today, the area is still a small town with affluent neighborhoods, some farming, but like a lot of areas, it's been hit fairly hard with drug problems.
Yeah, and back then it was known as a little mill town of about 30,000 outside of Pittsburgh. So I think that would explain why, so many different kinds of people come there just looking for work.
Rose and Kathy had become unlikely friends a few years earlier when the pair were neighbors. Though there was an age difference, Kathy looked to Rose as a mother figure, often calling her Mama Rose.
So it sounds like they're just become real good friends.
Many times, Kathy leaned on Rose for advice, confiding in her when things were not okay. Now, a few years earlier, Kathy's husband, Lou, had been arrested 4 times in 3 months on indecent exposure charges.
Well, Lou sounds like he has some kind of a problem.
He spent 6 weeks in jail, and the young mother was devastated, worrying how the family would support themselves if Lou lost another job.
Well, she should also be worrying why her damn husband's showing his junk to people.
Rose relied on Kathy at times for babysitting services. Lori saw Kathy as a big sister, and when Lori got older, she would babysit Kathy's daughter, Dawn. Lori was eager to visit her friends, especially to see the new baby. I mean, everybody loves a new baby.
You gotta go by and squeeze the baby.
As a stay-at-home, I'm sure Kathy probably enjoyed having the company.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Any new mother or new parents, period, especially whichever parent might be stuck in the house, if you will, with the baby, you're happy to see people pop by. A little distraction from the day-to-day.
Just some adult contact.
Yeah, and someone...
It's tough to be in the house with kids all day, little kids especially.
Yeah, because you're not having any adult interactions, and I think people need that.
Her husband, Lou, worked at V&R Industries, usually leaving the house at dawn. V&R was a newer company in the area. It had only been open for about 8 years at this point. And then after work, Lou attended night classes at Newcastle Business College. So Kathy spent the majority of her time alone at home with the kids.
Well, yeah, you work all day, and then you go do your classes, and then, a lot of times people will be like, well, I need a moment to unwind now. I'm not even thinking about the mom or parent at home, which that's a full-time job that never stops. So, yeah, I'm sure she was probably lonely.
Lou was a high school dropout who worked a series of manufacturing jobs as a gas station attendant and in construction over the course of their 6-year marriage. Lawrence Cadunce, we're going to call him Lou, as most people did, hailed from a large family. He had 14 brothers and sisters.
How do you even have that many kids? I mean, seriously. So you spend basically 14 years of your life pregnant, because it's 10 months, if you will. I just don't understand how a human body can even handle that many kids, honestly.
Do we need to have a birds and bees discussion, Dylan?
Well, I know how it works.
Well, first the daddy puts his pee-pee in the mommy.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Well, how do you even afford 14 kids, honestly?
Fuck if I know. I can barely afford the ones we have.
Yeah, shit.
Need a new phone charger every other week?
Yeah, we'd be about $1,000 in the phone chargers. What would your vagina be like, I wonder?
I don't know. I'm not really curious about that right now. I want to get back to the story. He enlisted in the Air Force in 1970 and was stationed at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. From 1970 to 1971, Lou was deployed to Vietnam where he worked a security detail. Now, at some point while he was serving, he accidentally shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, I bet it was accident.
He was discharged from the military, having only served about a year, and the reasons for his discharge are unknown. I couldn't find if it was an honorable, dishonorable.
Or if there was an event that led to it.
Right. Because only serving a year, is not a very long commitment. I mean, most people do about 4 years,
Well,
right?
especially with Vietnam active, they need everybody they can get.
After returning to Newcastle, Lou met Kathy at the mall. She worked at Orange Julius. Do you remember Orange Julius?
Do they make drinks or something?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think I do.
The two were married in 1972, and Dawn was born in May of 1974. Lou and Kathy were both football fans. Kathy was a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, while Lou supported the home team, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Steel Curtain. They were pretty badass back then.
The marriage was not always a happy one. Lou had troubles with the law, as I mentioned before, and at some point, Kathy had discovered he had been having an affair with a female coworker.
Yeah, even, it's not that hard to run afoul of the law. It's not the end of the world, but I think just indecent exposure and things like that's kind of pervy. That would really worry me if that my spouse was doing things like that.
Not to mention, he seemed to bounce around between jobs quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. And
we all know, like, financial insecurity is one of the main problems within most marriages.
Yeah, she's
people fight about money.
Stuck at home with 2 small kids. The finances are not secure. So, I mean, that's a huge worry. And now on top of all that, she's found out her husband's having an affair.
Rose, Lori, and Brian pull up to Kathy's modest 2-story rental home on Wilmington Avenue, which is just blocks from downtown Newcastle. The trio knocks on the door, but no one answers. Confident that Kathy is home, Rose continues to knock. Then they try the back door. But again, no one seems to be home.
So, which I think they're probably finding strange already because she's always home.
Middle of the day, 2 kids. Where could she be? Rose turns the doorknob and surprised to find that it opens because Kathy always locked the doors. So this concerned Rose. She pushes the door open and immediately they can hear the baby crying.
Well, and that's going to up your wondering what's going on.
So, Rose steps in the house. She's calling out, Kathy, Kathy, getting no response, but they can hear this baby crying. When no one responds, Rose discovers the baby in a portable crib, distressed. His diaper is soaked. He's crying, hungry, not a happy baby. But where's Kathy? Rose tells her daughter to go upstairs. 17-year-old Lori climbs the stairs hoping that she'll find Kathy maybe upstairs taking a nap, maybe in the shower, something like that. But she makes a shocking discovery. When she tops the stairs, she spots 4-year-old Dawn lying on her bedroom floor covered in blood.
Yeah, the scene with Dawn sounds very horrible.
She screams, runs downstairs, trying to explain what she's seen, but she's hysterical, so she's having a hard time getting out what she's seen.
Yeah, she's probably hyperventilating. Just, you don't even understand what she's saying.
Brian, her boyfriend, dashes back upstairs. He finds Kathy's nude body also lying on the floor covered in blood. Kathy is in her bedroom. It seems like the bathroom and the bedroom are connected.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of lying between the bedroom and the bathroom.
Oh, kind of maybe in the doorway area.
Lori runs to the neighbor's house to call an ambulance, police, and then tries to reach Lou Cadunce at work. The receptionist explains that Lou is at lunch and she should call back later.
Really? We need to go find him. We have an emergency.
When detectives arrive on the scene, what they discover is the appearance of a quick attack. Kathy, who is 5'9" and weighs about 145 pounds, is lying on the floor, as I mentioned, kind of between the bathroom and bedroom area. The blood has started to congeal that's, around her body. And that suggests that she's been dead for a couple of hours. Later, they are going to estimate the time of death as somewhere between 6 and 9 a.m. She has a .22 caliber bullet lodged in her left skull. But what really stands out to police are the 17 knife wounds on her neck and back.
And that's a lot.
There are no defensive wounds, no evidence of sexual assault, and no signs of forced entry into the house. The house doesn't appear to have been ransacked. Nothing really seems out of place.
So